Awesome. Right, so we have Adam Miller here with us in the Peach Studio. How are you?
I'm really good.
Are you enjoying the lovely Great British weather?
Yeah, I've finally got it for the first time. Like every time I've been to the UK before, it's been sunny and beautiful, strangely enough. So I thought the weather was a joke.
I was actually
before.
shocked when you told me that earlier. All the times you've been to the UK and stuff, and the weather has been decent. So
Been glorious, yeah. So I dig it.
Yeah.
I didn't prepare for it, but I still enjoy it.
It is what it is. It
Yeah.
is what it is. So on a little bit of a whistle stop tour, travelling around doing stuff, doing some shows.
Yeah, I've been on this tour, so I live in Australia still, so I did 2 weeks through the US, then on to Germany, then I think I'm in the UK for 3 days doing various random things, and then back to Germany and back home.
Well, you seem to tour basically all the time.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
constantly playing, especially at home, and then, get out into the world as much as I can.
And that's a mixture of like solo stuff and with the band as well.
Yeah, very fortunate that I can turn up with just a guitar
One man
and
and a
pull
guitar.
off a gig. I would much prefer to play with a band often, but that's
You got to work.
how it is. Yeah,
Man's
you've got to work,
man's
and
gotta work.
there's budget constraints to that.
Of course, and travelling around and moving even just in and out of the UK to Europe now has become even more difficult, and all these extra things that we
Makes no difference to me. Everywhere's hard to travel from
exactly,
Australia.
yeah, and it's very far. Everywhere's very far.
Well, it's like only 8 movies.
yeah, that's all right. Yeah, or just just 3 of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, no, cool. Well, we've you've got a lovely new guitar.
I do. Yeah.
Nik Huber guitar.
So
Tell us about it.
So I've had a very long relationship with Nik Huber. We met maybe it was 14 years ago now. I realised at a NAMM show, and I was already infatuated with his guitars. I've always loved tellies essentially, and then anything that's a left of centre telly is totally my vibe, and so that's kind of Nick's body shape is that.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that hybrid of somewhere in between the telly and the Gibson thing, I guess.
You still know it's a Huber though, don't you?
And that's the thing. It's instantly recognisable as his as well. So I've been playing for the last 7 years a Rietbergen, which is the big one, essentially this size pulled out to a 335, and that guitar has been exceptional. It's a similar wood to this, redwood, gold foils, and loved it. And essentially, talking about travel and the difficulties of things, I wanted something that was smaller in size, a little bit stronger, so not carved top, this being flat top, and able to sort of cover any gig that I do, like whether it is solo, whether it is with a band, that it would be quiet as well, so all those things. So we ended up with this, which is really a combination of my signature guitar, my previous signature guitar with Nick, the Rietbergen, the 3 or 4 different of his models combined
into one,
and kind of combined with like my main guitars as well, which are a thin line telly that I built from parts years ago, a couple of Collings and arch tops sort of thing. So it was, just to get it all into one. So essentially we've got, I stuck with a redwood top and a mahogany body, just so it was the same as my last one. So I had a common ground to start from. What I did want was the bolt-on neck. I got all excited about bolt-on necks again, so we did that. Maple neck, just because it's strong, it's rigid. I did spec quarter sawn on mine, so that just for that
really
extra
stability, for travelling around.
So just that I can turn up anywhere. It's probably not going to move.
No.
Rosewood board. It's very hollow. It's the same hollow as the Surfmeister, but it's essentially around here, and then so the block just goes under the pickups and under the bridge, but all behind here is hollow.
Right. Okay.
So it's a whole giant swimming pool thing, and that's I opted to put a trapeze on it, tailpiece, to kind of activate that whole thing acoustically.
Yeah.
So I could get...
Yeah, and allows the whole of that top to really move.
To really resonate. And because it's connected to there, it sort of activates it through the back and more so than like a wraparound would have.
You said earlier it was like the perfect hotel room guitar as well. And when, you know, when I was just playing it earlier, I was like, wow, you could just sit there and put a mic on it.
Yeah. Mic up that F hole. I'm sure it's huge. I haven't done it yet, but and then went for mini humbuckers in this. These ones are Kloppmans out of Germany as well, and that was that same thing. I've always liked, I guess, narrow aperture or single coil pickups is what I'm about, but I really wanted something quiet. And, you know, all my guitars are more my Telly has like a Firebird. I just wanted to try something a little mellower. So far, after plugging the guitar in maybe 3 times now, including today.
Well, it's
working
fresh,
pretty
it?
well.
You know, we're on like, what is it, the 2nd of October today, and this guitar is dated 20th of September, so it's pretty
it's
fresh.
Really fresh, and I got it like a week ago now. Oh no, just less than a week ago actually.
Yeah, was it the Mannheim show?
Yeah. So the Guitar Summit thing there, and so far it seems to do all those things that I imagined, and you know, it's super comfortable to play. Nik's neck shapes are kind of like the best there is. Like I don't spec anything there because it's just like perfect.
You know it's going to be.
So this is kind of the Pete neck shape on this one, and so it's a very light V sort of feeling. But
it's interesting how that tailpiece really changes the look of it from being a Surfmeister, doesn't it? Into that, it just looks like a new shape or a completely new thing. Doesn't it?
It just takes it into that new territory. And I wanted it to be sort of classic and understated. As far as the guitar goes, that it could be like a strange old Japanese
but
guitar.
To me, like when I first saw it, I was like, that's a guitar that I would associate with you because of the top, the colouring of it, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's like, you know, that's your thing, but they've got everything dialed in out of all the other models that you like into that one. So
so that's kind of like Nik just ended up calling it the Adam Miller because it was enough different from everything else that it is its own thing. And then the only other thing that everyone's commented on, which is kind of funny, is that it only has a volume control and no tone control. And the joke is tone is in the hands. But
well, why don't you show us? Or why don't we have a little listen how it sounds, and then we'll talk about amps and pedals and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, cool.
Let's do it. Let's have a listen.
Yeah, great.
Let's see if Tony's in the hands.
Let's see how we go. Shake it out.
Don't let me down. Perfect. Sounds beautiful.
It's a vibe.
And Adam is a sensible man. He plays at nice, sociable volume levels as well.
Social
Unlike
volume.
yours truly.
I like it.
Yeah, unlike yours truly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that sounds great, man. So you've got fairly kind of a simple travel kind of setup. Is this the kind of setup you would use back at home though? Or,
yeah. I kind of I have a few more things and annexes of like more loopers and fuzzers and things, but honestly, I just end up using this 95% of the time anyway. And it's crazy just sort of how flexible these sort of things are.
Yeah.
How much you can kind of do with that. So
I'm curious to hear this Chase Bliss pedal.
Yeah, so the Chase Bliss is the one that most people ask me about. And they are they are a crazy kind of beast of what they do. And so I kind of have 3 presets with it, essentially, of how I use it. So the basic thing is like the left side when you're looking down it is sort of a delay.
Yeah.
Is whatever a delay pedal you can imagine you could do is that's what it
does that, yeah.
The other side is a looper.
Right.
But it's not a looper where you play a groove and go over it because you don't have a start recording thing.
No.
They're just constantly listening.
Right.
First preset, I just have this really simple delay. And that kind of does me that time. It's longer than like the Robin slap or something, but for me, that's, you know, the perfect solo tone. I actually hardly use it for my own stuff. It's more when I'm playing with other people.
Right.
But anyway, that's there. The magic side, so this loop I've got set up, it's kind of long. I think it might be it's 3 or 4 seconds it's listening to. And then essentially as soon as I switch it on, it plays whatever I did in reverse.
Right.
So you get this.
So it just gives you a nice kind of layer.
It's just a bed to play over. So it's not in time.
No.
It's just that thing if I can make it very free, like. So I can do that, or I can play something with a groove over it and just let it float in the background. So it's like. And you can actually then, with the new mood, you can then loop on top of that as well and do all sorts of crazy things when you're getting down.
You'd be doing that and then you look up and realise everyone's left.
Well, maybe at your gig.
Yeah, probably.
No.
I don't have anyone
people
at the
are
start.
So that's one preset. The next one is like a reverse delay on this side.
Yeah. Nice.
And then what I do with this loop is it arpeggiates through the digital clock.
Right.
So it's I use it in a song of mine called "Seem Like a Good Idea," and it's sort of like I just. Or if I'm, shredding somewhere and I can't play super fast and I'm super bored of like what I can play now, then I might just be like this and go.
Nice.
That always makes everyone happy.
Yeah, well, make sure everyone's listening. So like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah. And then lucky last is this vibe. Let's see if I can make this work. I didn't set this up.
Okay.
So this is now in manual mode.
Right.
And so the delay side, because it's kind of like a modulation delay. Did you ever see Ibanez made this pedal? It's like the TS10 casing called a modulation delay. And it was I got one when I was a teenager, and it could do like phasing or chorus or stuff like the Mood does.
Yeah.
And so I think that was the first thing I got, and I really went deep into like, wow, this can do all this stuff, but I've got to bend over and change it all the time. So I'm kind of used to that. So this one, I found that the delay could actually work as an octaver. And then, so what I'll...
Tracks well as well, doesn't it?
Well, it kind of tracks nasty, actually. It's like...
Oh, that's,
It's got that
note behind
it comes after it. It is delayed slightly, but it's kind of cool. So I will use that like when I have a fuzz pedal on the board, but the old dumb Free the Tone turned up actually does a pretty good fuzz. So you get like this with the octave fuzz.
Right, well, there's a whole load of inspiration just in that pedal, I guess.
Yeah, and so and that's the thing. Like, I'm used to kind of bending down quick and
just
throwing some things around so that
works,
and then you combine the Buddy G with that, with the Mood, and then even the Flint stuff. Like, you've got obviously still probably one of the greatest tremolo pedals there is.
It's so good.
I kind of have to forget that it's digital and go, it's okay.
Yeah.
But then, obviously then your harmonic trem, if you want to go full, Ariel, Joey, Fake Mills. That sort of vibe is there. But it also does a great, rotary sort of thing as well. So you can get that. So I can be the organ player when I need to.
Yeah. That's it. You would fire the organ player, and there you go.
Yeah, done.
And so the drive sections of the board, are these kind of staples, or are you?
These have been staples for a long time now. I guess the Vemoran pedal hasn't been out that long, but it does something that I used to have a Jan Ray as well.
Yeah.
And I find that the Jan Ray I actually use a lot for when I'm doing more pop work with other artists. It's probably my favorite lead tone. When I run it a little bit higher gain, but this one just does that little bit of drive.
Just like the amp's up a bit louder, isn't it?
And it's great. Like if I'm just not quite feeling it.
Yeah, and you just want a little bit of extra.
A little bit of extra without turning around and turning up the amp. It really does that, and the way it drives other drive pedals is amazing too.
Yeah. So because you use the Free the Tone over the drive, overdrive is just like the standard drive.
Kind of, yeah. Like, and once again, man, I don't know if you have this thing, but I basically I get overdrive pedals and I make them all sound the same.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what they are. I just turn the knobs and then it's like,
it just sounds like the last one.
Yeah. So it's, but the feel of it is everything for me.
Exactly.
So with this one, it's that same thing as well. And I've found this pedal has just this great dynamic range where you just go from, it is still clean.
Dig in, you can hear it.
It's got it all there. And I can even, if I am playing solo, I can manipulate it to the point where I can keep the low end clean and the top end dirty.
Yeah.
So I can get that
Well, that just shows you how dynamic it, and how touch sensitive it is, isn't it? Because you're digging in harder on the treble strings and playing softer on the bass. That's amazing, isn't it?
It's pretty cool. Yeah. So it's been great, that one.
Yeah, no, it's all of their stuff's great. Free the Tone and Vemoran and that as well. It's just great. And in terms of amps, we first met back in January. Was it January, the last NAMM show?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Through our mutual friend Eli at 2 Rock.
Yeah.
And you've been a 2 Rock user for a long time as
well.
Very
I got my first one in 2007.
Yeah.
So I've been with the whole thing a long time.
So that would have been a custom reverb signature.
I wish.
Was it?
It was a Jet.
A Jet,
actually. They just released the Jet.
Yeah.
And that was the only thing in my price range at that point.
Yeah. You got to the classic reverb in the end.
Yeah. So and I've had a few different ones over the years, not too many actually.
You're saying you like the Burnside?
Yeah. So my current Quiver.
Yeah.
In Australia is a classic reverb signature and a Burnside.
Yeah.
And the Burnside is a really amazing amp because it's just like it is more on the tweedy side, but you can hear that it just has less in it. Like it's only 4 knobs on the front.
That's right, yeah.
And I have the combo, and it's, you know, they're 28 watts now. Mine's actually one of the first ones that were
6 ones, yeah.
There was 18 watts.
Yeah.
But I have 6L6 in it. I've revised it.
Okay.
Sorry if that's not something I should say. But it's also like the loudest amp.
Yeah.
Around. It's tiny.
But it cuts, doesn't it? It really cuts through, but not harsh.
They're a pine cabinet in those rather than the ply of the other. And it's light. I can fit it anywhere. Mine kind of looks cool too because all the black tweed is like worn off to the original tweed now, and it's got that sweet relic vibe.
Yeah. And is it again like the dynamics and the headroom that you just like so much with the 2-rock amps?
It's the front end feel of it. I would say actually, it's just the way that it the very light amount of compression to the front end that allows me to. The way I've always equated it, because I was predominantly an acoustic guitar player for a very, very long time, and that's what people knew me as well. But the 2-rock, the whole thing just ended up like, it feels like the top of an acoustic guitar when I play through it.
Right.
Like it really becomes that extension of the instrument where you can feel the way, if you're familiar with playing acoustic guitar well, where you've got this light touch that makes the guitar speak, then a bit more and it goes more, but there is a point where they stop and then start to not break up, but they do. And
they just run out.
And I find that with the 2-rock as well, even because I'm not playing it insane volumes and it's not breaking up per se, but it kind of, there's this point where it just,
you get to the sweet spot.
Where it gives in like under my thumb, but it just rounds it off perfectly instead of like blowing through. Which maybe like a Fender amp would probably do that for me, unless I then turned it up and then it's dirty. So, No, I love their amps because it's it is quite a revealing experience to play through something like a classic reverb. I've heard a lot of really good players play through one for the first time and be used to hearing something else that's got all this like compression and all that kind of stuff, and then it being quite like, wow, it's actually like there's some work to be done here. Yeah, I feel like I've been playing, it's nearly 20 years now, so I'm so used to it that every other amp feels like that to me. It's kind of the opposite vibe, but they are, and like they're just super reliable. I just, mine have just never... I throw them in the boot of my car or the trunk for any Americans watching. And, it just survives.
Well, both of my amps are currently on tour at the moment without me using them. So Ariel's got my classic reverb and Mary Spender's got my silver sterling rig as well. So
wow, yeah.
Hopefully, fingers crossed, now that we've said it, they'll probably blow up.
No, they'll be great. They'll come back trashed, but... they'll still be working.
Eli will give me a new one, that's fine. Awesome. Right, well, why don't you play us out with some more tones and let's get some more of this new guitar.
Yeah, cool. Let's do it. Let's play something. Let's do a bit of drive on this one.
Come on.
Cool.
you.